Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving into the secret sauce of modern marketing. The real reason why some ads and products just click. It feels like they were made just for you, right? Well, that's by design. We're talking about market segmentation. I mean, think about it. Have you ever been scrolling and an ad pops up that feels like it's been reading your mind? Or you find a product that solves a problem you were literally just complaining about? That is not a coincidence, and it's definitely not magic. It's a really smart strategy, and today, we're going to pull back that curtain. So, what is this thing really? Let's get right into it. We're going to define what market segmentation is and unpack how businesses use it to stop guessing what you want and start knowing what you need. Okay, at its heart, market segmentation is pretty simple. It's the exact opposite of a one-size-fits-all approach. So instead of a company shouting one single message to a giant, diverse crowd, they break that crowd down into smaller, more focused groups of people who actually have things in common. And the process itself? It's brilliantly simple. You start with everybody, the whole broad market. Then you slice it up into those distinct groups or segments. And finally, you create marketing and products that speak directly to each specific group. You know, it's the difference between shouting with a megaphone at a stadium and having a one-on-one conversation. So how do companies actually do this dividing? Well, they typically look at their audience through 4 different lenses. Think of it as 4 ways to understand who their customers really are. Let's break down these 4 core types. And here they are. You've got demographic, which is all about who the customer is. Then there's geographic, which is pretty straightforward. It's where they are. Psychographic goes a little deeper into how they think. And finally, you have behavioral, which looks at what they actually do. Each one of these gives you a totally unique piece of the customer puzzle. First up is demographic segmentation. This is probably the one you're most familiar with. It's all about the hard facts: age, gender, income, education level. A perfect example is a store like H&M. They don't just sell clothes, right? They have very specific sections for men, women, and kids because they know each of those groups has completely different needs and styles. Next, we've got geographic segmentation. This is all about location, location, location. At McDonald's, they are absolute masters of this. The menu you see in the US is not the same menu you'll find somewhere else. In India, for example, they've got the Maka Kilo Tiki burger to cater to local vegetarian preferences. In Japan, you might find a teriyaki burger. It's just a fantastic example of how culture and place shape our tastes. Okay, so we've covered the who and the where. Now let's get into the why. This is psychographic segmentation, and it goes way deeper. It's about a customer's lifestyle, their values, their personality. Nike is the poster child for this. They're not just selling athletic shoes, they're selling an identity. That "Just Do It" slogan isn't about the shoe. It's about connecting with a mindset of grit, determination, and ambition. And last but not least, we have behavioral segmentation. This one's all about actions. It looks at what you buy, how often you buy it, and how loyal you are to a brand. The absolute best example is Amazon's recommendation engine. It is constantly watching what you click on, what you look at, what you buy, and then it uses that data to predict what you'll want next. It's not about who you are, it's about what you do. Okay, so we've got the 4 types down, but how does a business actually turn this theory into, profit? Let's walk through the actual step-by-step process they use to put this whole thing into action. It's a pretty clear 5-step roadmap. First, it all starts with research. You got to gather the data to understand who's even out there. Then you use that data to identify and define your segments. After that, you evaluate them, because not all segments are worth going after. You have to pick the most promising ones. From there, you develop a tailored strategy for each group you've chosen. And finally, you implement and monitor your plan. Because markets and people are always changing, so your strategy has to be ready to change too. So why do companies go through all this trouble? Well, the payoff is absolutely huge. When you really get your customers, your marketing is just way more effective. It feels personal. That leads to happier customers who stick around, it helps you build better products, and you stop wasting money on ads that don't work. Ultimately, it gives you a massive leg up on the competition. Theory is one thing, but let's see how this stuff actually plays out in the real world with brands we all know and use. This is where you can really see the power of segmentation come to life. If you're a Spotify user, you experience brilliant behavioral segmentation every single Monday. That Discover Weekly playlist, it's not random. It's Spotify's algorithm analyzing every song you listen to, every song you skip, every artist you follow. It feels so personal, and it keeps you hooked because it's built entirely on your unique behavior. It's genius. And then you've got Coca-Cola, another master of the game. They use demographic and psychographic segmentation to basically cover the entire market. You've got classic Coke, right? That's for the purists, the people who love that original taste. But then, for different, more health-conscious groups, they offer Diet Coke and Coke Zero. By creating a specific product for each major segment, they leave almost no room for their competitors. But as powerful as segmentation is, we have to be realistic. It's not a magic bullet. To really get the full picture, we need to talk about the challenges and the potential downsides. For starters, doing this right can be really expensive and time-consuming. There's also a real risk of what's called over-segmentation, slicing your market into so many tiny pieces that your efforts just get diluted. And maybe most importantly, if you're not careful, it's really easy to slip into harmful stereotyping, which can alienate the very people you're trying to connect with. It takes a really thoughtful approach. And that right there really gets to the heart of it. When market segmentation is done right, it's not about putting people into boxes. It's about deeply, truly understanding them. It's a tool for empathy, one that lets businesses serve their customers better. So the next time you see an ad that just feels perfect, you'll know the secret strategy behind it. Which leaves us with one last question for you to think about. Based on who you are, where you live, and what you buy, what market segments do you think you belong to? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.